All right, guys, I am Doug Bruner, and I am here with the Toast podcast. We're back again. I think this is our third episode. I'm excited to be here because part of the foundation and everything I've done is with the Ag Center is service businesses. So it's exciting because one of my first partners, first person I hired in a service business that actually mattered was a guy, hired multiple, was Kyle Espinola. Friend, a stud in everything he does. We're going to talk to Kyle. Who's ever out there listening today, you're lucky because, number one, I have to go to a baseball game, so you don't have to listen to me that long. But number two is, if you want to be, a lot of people talk now as, hey, I can't make it in business and things like that, whatever it may be. Agriculture, it's so hard. Kyle has proven the total opposite. I mean, his dad, he grew up, I know his story well, so I can speak about it. Grew up in a farming family. Grandfather was a dairyman. I mean, that's what they did, but his dad was a CHP, mom. Radiologist, yeah. So family kind of broke away and Kyle came back into it. He was an athlete. He had all the acclimates to be successful in everything he did, but Kyle was farming for a farming family. When I came to him one day, his wife and my wife are best friends, so it was kind of like, hey, if you do this, it could cause problems. But you know what? Kyle has proved everything and how to run custom businesses to a T. I mean, it's special to watch him. Young guys will ask me, hey, how do I start a business? How do I say, hey, man, go talk to Kyle Espinola because he's the model of how to build multiple businesses, how to take care of a customer. And so I think, especially for people who are wanting to get in or are running a customer service business, you are lucky today to be able to talk to Kyle. So number one, Kyle, always happy to be with you.
It. Yeah, thanks for
talk to you every day. Kyle, what is happening in your life? Fourth kid.
Just had number 4. So
this guy is not messing around, holding the Portuguese heritage up.
Yeah.
And what is happening in Kyle's life in all businesses right now?
Yeah, we got 4 businesses, so I figured we might as well have 4 kids.
Yeah, good.
One for each. We need a little mascot running around for each business.
Yeah, I love that.
So free marketing there until you got to pay for college. But, things rolling at the homestead. Once again, I can't, be blessed enough to the opportunity from Doug that he's given us.
And
Clay, our other partner, Clay Haynes. Second most, my wife. Like I said, we got 4 kids, and my wife, Nicole, holds it down, and she's the real kind of G behind all of it that lets me explore and my mind go crazy. So businesses are all running, are all at kind of different aspects of their seasonal type of work. First and foremost, Caddy's daddy, Caddyshack, is our first business and our kind of OG that we model everything off of. Yep. And we're turning and burning right now, coming into spring. Very important to handle your rodent control and whatnot. So Caddyshack's growing. We got 30 machines running strong today, about 80% of our fleet. So that other 20% should be coming up, here in the next coming weeks to keep things moving. So tree barber, we've kind of ventured a little bit to keep tree barber moving in these times, right? So we got the netting going. That's kind of a new thing we added last year. Connections with some other Ag Center affiliates that kind of got us into that and helping them serve their growers as well. So netting of the citrus, the netting, the unnetting, working with a lot of citrus growers on that. So and then there's What's Up, which is a solar cleaning business, which in your head should be pretty seasonal, right? With just mostly during the summer, and it's going, it's rolling. So we're doing a lot of new things with that and new kind of business routes with the What's Up, more than just the panel cleaning. So really kind of connecting back to Caddyshack and the rodent control within those sites, and then the vegetation maintenance. So the mowing, the the weed eating, the spraying, and so we've been kind of tackling all those and finding new avenues to keep them busy. At the end of the day, we're blessed with great employees, and at the end of that's really all we're trying to do is keep those guys busy every day. And
a lot of people will think we're doing this episode right now, and then, hey, I don't really want to hear about gopher cleaning or what's up or cleaning the solar panel or topping a tree. And I'm with you. It can be boring, but it's part of business. But the fun of it is, it was kind of like Kyle when he came on. He came from running a large farming operation, and it's exciting. You're planting corn, planting wheat, doing all these things, and it's like, hey, I'm coming on and I'm going to kill squirrels, or I'm going to kill gophers. But you know what? It's so much more vast, and it's fun. I call Kyle every day between 8 or 9, 10, about that time. If I don't by 12, I usually feel a little off, and I always tell him every day I like calling him because the fun of it is what is new. And so I appreciate people giving me these schedules, how to look at doing the podcast, but asking me, how did Tree Barber or Caddyshack originate? Well, I tell you how Caddyshack, it was me and Clay sitting in a bar. I said that 4 years ago on this because Clay understood custom businesses. He's done, spraying and all those things. And I knew if I was going to get into these things, number one, Clay has a good reputation. Number two is need a guy who's understood services. And once we've evolved into our machines, our philosophies on being the best at that. And the hurdles that we've gone through in our businesses have been really fun and learning. Like, we've gotten to harvesting, we've gotten to topping. I mean, Kyle has done, there's 10 different businesses in these 3 to 4. And like he said, he's doing citrus. Today we just got to talk. He's doing vegetation maintenance. And so the philosophy behind this podcast is not about, these companies. It's more about what I want people to learn as a guy who's taken one thing and turned it into 10 to 15. And a guy who, it's like the coach, and I didn't get to coach Kyle or play with Kyle, but I knew he was an incredible athlete, is saying, hey, what other play can we run with you? And I feel like Kyle's the type of guy, it's like, hey, we ran the sweep 10 times, where he's the guy saying, you know what, let's run the other way and do that. And that's been the fun about working with Kyle. And I think it's a holistic mindset of our businesses can go different directions. Yep. And that's the fun. And the other change is what we've really been working on in the last 6 months is understanding is you can't do it all.
Yeah.
Right. So we got prime guys who work with us where it's like, hey, we need to start handing things off. And I think that's the downfall for a lot of companies is saying, hey, I am going to have my hands. Of course, you're going to be involved.
Correct. Overseeing.
But you cannot eventually, like we got Brian Silvera, Junior, like these guys have been with us for 7 years and they got the ability to run businesses themselves. So talk about that and that transition. We'll get into whatever we do, but the transition of handing those things over, because I know that's not something easy for you. I can feel it in my conversations with you, not fighting with it, but hey, easing it with you. It's like, hey, Kyle, I think we need to maybe give these guys an opportunity and see what the rewards have been. Now, we've done that with other people and they've screwed us over.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. You have good people in this world and you have bad people in this world. And I've dealt with that in multiple businesses. There's bad people that think they're going to do it better. But in the end, I know like I've always told you, you will triumph over those little peons that think they are something that they're not. And I have that in multiple business. Yeah. Little clowns that think they can compete with you. And it's just like, we'll eventually smash you like the little fry you are or
when
whatever.
Things come, it's always easy to, thoughts are always, it's easy to, get right to it in your head. Everything works out perfectly. But in all reality, it doesn't. Things that businesses, you think they take 3 years, it takes 10 years. Caddyshack, look, we're in year 10. And till this day, we're still evolving with new business methods, new aspects, new marketing and whatnot. So to kind of go back to your question,
prevailing wage, all of a sudden.
Prevailing wage stuff.
Yeah.
Looking to go solar? Barrier Solar is your single source for green-friendly, money-saving solar panels, provides top-tier installations to power your home or business. Maximize your solar power. Dirty panels mean lost energy. Watts Up Solar Cleaning keeps them spotless for peak performance. Brighten up your solar savings with Barrier Solar and Watts Up Solar Cleaning. Whether it's cleaning or a brand new setup, you'll be covered. Easily get connected today at theagcenter.com.
I think there's two different, ways of delegation. It's an employee delegating, right? And then it's the business kind of delegating to other companies to contract out, or you might be the contractor or you might be the contractee. So, delegation was tough, early on, especially like I said, this is our business, our babies, and to
especially
trust,
for you, it's day in, day out.
To trust somebody, to give them, to wear that brand and have them representing, it was tough. But the team that we have, it took a while, to build and whatnot, and build up to a team of, 40, back down to a team of 20, overhead of team of 8. Now we're down to a team of 2 and doing, at the end of the day, the same amount of sales that we were with that team of 5 on the overhead. So finding those gaps, delegating in the right position, and, finding people that are sharing that same image, that same standard to the everyday, care to your service, and then on the business side, with all the different businesses, we see the different aspects, for Caddyshack, right? We're not contracting out anybody, and nobody's contracting out. So there's nobody really that's kind of competing with us. So we'll take all the work possible. When it comes to Tree Barber, now we're blessed with great clientele, and we're getting more work every year than we could possibly do with our own equipment. Mm-hmm. So we bring in other vendors or other companies, and we'll contract that out to them. Watts Up, we're kind of on the other side.
Has contracting people out helped your growth in businesses?
When done correctly, absolutely.
Has it hurt you?
It's hurt us a lot. Yeah, we've been burned by a couple contractors, and not necessarily that they were out to get it, but at the end of the day, we hold our companies to a certain standard, and our job completion, our work to a certain standard. And when things aren't getting done like that, unfortunately, who's it go back to? Straight to our name. So there's maybe some
to your balls.
Some interesting conversations, and you're saying sorry for things you didn't do, but that's kind of the pill you gotta swallow when you're in that scenario. So it's worked out both, and it what it's really done is helped us, that philosophy has helped us grow, being able to be in 20 places at once, even though maybe we're only in about 10, and and some companies are doing other stuff for us. It's been able to help us get in front of new growers, and being able to, because we're in front of them, for Tree Barber, we're able to get the Caddyshack work, we're able to get the Watts Up work, we're able to, offset and send some stuff to our other affiliates, Central Irrigation or, Pacific Farm or stuff like that. So the main thing we've just always prided ourselves on is being in front of growers. I mean, I want to talk to them. It's
hard
day.
When you only do one thing, right?
Yeah, you
only have one chance a year, where for you there's really not a reason to be in front of them.
It's like that badge, this guy's got a security pass, but it only gets him through the front gate. Yeah. With all these other businesses, our security pass gets us all the way back to the vault, because we're checking off 8 different categories and reasons why we're here talking to the farm manager, we're here talking to the agronomist, we're here talking to all these different people. So it's opened up a lot of doors. And therefore, built an absolute animal of workforce too. Our guys are as well versatile, as our businesses are, because they're crossing over from almond harvest to rodent control to cleaning solar panels on the weekend, back to, running the shaker on Monday. So our crews are just top-notch employees that we've been able to keep busy. That's another reason why we kind of have this business model, is to keep these employees busy year round. If you got to retrain and rehire, you're done for. Efficiently, you're losing, at least, 2 weeks on every startup. So coming in, that's kind of been the huge thing is it's worked to our advantage. But if we didn't have a solid team, office staff as well, things could get down real quick, and just kind of go down. So it's been cool to work out each business's, certain business problems, because they all are somewhat different model. So
tell people like the point where it was like for yourself, it was, when you came on, we're running Caddyshack, start Tree Barber, start spreading, we buy one topper. When was the point like yourself, like it was like a holy shit moment, like there's a lot more going on than I really knew what was going on? Does that make sense? Like, there comes, I've had those moments sometimes where you're just sitting at the end of the day having a beer in your backyard and you just think, holy shit, this is a little more than I thought was going on. That's going on than I thought was going on.
Yeah, I think early on, I probably thought that weekly, just because things were, we were Caddyshack wise, I came on and we had 4, and then a month down the road we had 8, and then 10 and 15, and we're hiring guys. And then when it came to getting the spreader jobs, we kind of bought that day and started growing. So I think probably once we got a couple toppers on the Tree Barber side, because you're all of a sudden we got all these toppers and you're honing in on this, but when you lay down at the end of the day, you got another business that has 50 employees, and you got to switch back over to this business and make sure they got everything they need, and then turn your cap around. Now we're running Tree Barber, and then sideways. Now we're doing What's Up.
I'm looking at you right now. You have 3 different brands on right now.
I'm always a personal label. No disrespect.
Hey, I love that.
Yeah. No disrespect to anybody else, but I'll only wear our brands, and it's kind of, I think, the one thing that sets us apart too is between our employees and myself and everybody. There's no shame in the game where we're all proud to wear the brands that we have and the logos that we have. And,
I love that. You are always doing that, handing that out. And I think that's big in the customer service, is people that respect in that. I'm diverse in so many different things, and a lot of people have no idea that I'm even associated with those companies, and that's perfectly fine with me. You know that.
Yeah,
I don't really give 2 shits if people know that I am, because I believe you are the face. You've earned that right to do that.
Need reliable farm labor? Pacific Farm Management provides skilled workers for every stage, from planting to harvest. With labor shortages on the rise, our experienced crews keep your farm productive. Don't let workforce challenges slow you down. One call to the Ag Center connects you with the labor solutions you need. Contact us today.
What do you think you take things to the next level as you've been doing this? You have been in customer service now for 10 years.
Yep.
Right? You, like you said, Caddyshack, you got Tree Barber, you got What's Up, you got Valley Ag. What is it now in the customer service business for you? What do you see in the next levels?
Yeah.
The growth for you personally.
Yeah, I think personally my growth's probably, and I think it's already kind of brewing, but it's going to be probably coming into the office, and doing more office stuff. You can scale businesses. You can do $15 million a year like nothing. At the end of the day, if it costs you $14,999,000, at the end of the day, we got a hobby. So being able
you're
to
gonna have Sean Haynes kicking your balls in.
We got to hire CFOs and do all that stuff. So I think honing in on in the office stuff and really coming about and realizing what numbers are most important in each business. Like I said, each business is kind of different. So, one business, it might be more on, one business, Caddyshack is a very high labor business, right? So really making sure that, overtime, build hours versus labor hours, efficiencies are so tight, and then Tree Barber, kind of different. Tree Barber is a different animal when it comes to equipment. So that's kind of a cost of entry, and making sure if you want to expand, you want to grow, it's costing you.
Capital.
You need huge capital, and right now to get capital's not cheap. So if you wanted to go out and get loans at a high interest rate, well, you better know your numbers, or else, once again, we're hobby farming. So
you came in at the right time.
Yeah. So, and I think we've learned a lot come to our third business, Watts Up, and now we're taking a lot that we've learned from those businesses, office wise, customer service wise, and being able to really dial it in, and instead of learning things year 3, we're implementing them on year 1 and being able to kind of stay in front of a lot of stuff. So it's been pretty challenging, but it's been so rewarding just figuring out the different problems in each industry, in each set of books that we have, and what the driving forces are. So
let me ask you another question, just because I think we always talk about highlights. What has been your biggest fuck up, Oh, sorry, Mom. But biggest screw up in anything, either from a business decision that you thought would go right, or just dealing with a client.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you are. I know one thing. You can be humble, but you're revered in the customs. There's a lot of young guys wanting to be in the custom service. They're not doing it on your level, but. But with greatness comes whoopings, right?
Yeah.
Like,
no, 100%.
And so I don't know. I'm just wondering. Like, I've never asked you, but we've had them.
Yeah, we've had a whole lot of them.
What is a good whooping you've taken?
I've taken a couple whoopings, and probably on a couple different levels too. Like on the personal level, me and pickups just don't get along. I've totaled my fair share of pickups doing billing, going down the road and into pistachio trees and whatnot. So I get my ass whooping the personal side on that.
You like nice trucks too.
I do like nice trucks. It's my office. We've spread a couple of the wrong fields with some expensive fertilizer. Luckily, fertilizer not a herbicide or a type of deal, to where we can.
You actually blessed a farmer.
Yeah, we actually gave a farmer quite a bit of free SOP. So
I heard about that one.
That was one that was a direct hit on day one. That was like, hey, we fucked up. So
I'm gonna get to that. Keep going.
And thirdly, not all businesses work. Not all sectors of each business is as profitable as you think or as others. When we took the jump to get into almond harvest 5 years ago, there's 3 of us and we all have, votes and shares and whatnot. And, Doug actually was
give me a little credit.
Yeah. Doug was like, hell no, we don't need to get into almond harvest. But me and Clay Haynes vetoed him and we got into almond harvest. And here we are 5 years later. Don't get me wrong. It works for our employee structure, for keeping guys busy, for, filling seasonal gaps tremendously. It works great. But when it comes down to just net profit, I mean, at the end of the day, in almond harvest, there's just not that much money to be made, especially with, great relationships with your customers. It's hard to go in there and, when things are down, on nuts are at $1.80 now. Luckily, they're coming up a little bit, but it's hard to tell a guy, hey, I'm going to go up 30% this year when your crop's actually going to go down 60%. But hey, write the check. So we've done a lot of just try to be pretty fair with our growers. But I think that's looking back, that was, if I had to guess, that'd be one sector we could say now we shouldn't have got into, but now we're in it and we run it like hell. So
yeah.
I think that's the moral of it.
It's
we
evolved,
fucked up,
but it takes 3 years to evolve.
You swallow your pride and you make it work. So we're just on any of those F-ups. It's
the problem, right, which the price of capital and the price to get into something, but sometimes it's like building a nice house in a shitty neighborhood. Nobody wants to buy the house anymore.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing in custom harvesting. If you want to get out,
good luck.
Nobody wants to buy your equipment.
Nobody wants your equipment because you've ran it like hell to try to make money out of it, and now it's worth 10% of what you bought it at. So you run it till they fall apart, and then we'll have to make a decision here in a couple years whether we reinvest in that or we say good riddance and hand it off. So
maybe they'll have drones that just pick them out.
Start shaking it. They got the autonomous stuff and whatnot. But, on the service side of things, I see the autonomous and I'm not sold on it yet.
It really hasn't worked.
Yeah, I'm not too sold on it yet. It works for great. It works for some people. Don't get me wrong. Some business models. I would say probably more of corporate farming that they want fixed cost and you can do that. But when it comes down to a service company and I'm trying to shake as many acres as I possibly can within 10 hours.
I don't know about you, but 3 or 4 years ago, I feared it. Like I did with Zach Thompson from Gus.
Yeah.
I mean, congratulations to them. Sold to John Deere. They're a hell of a company. I just thought we would see them everywhere.
Yeah.
And it feels like I see less of them now.
Yeah. And I think, especially with just the price of things. I mean, naturally, robotics are going to cost more, you know?
Sure.
So,
for sure.
We're like I said, we're a heavily based labor guy and been able to build some great employees to where automation isn't as good as us yet, you know? So we're able to kind of keep pushing on that. And,
so another thing, just people listening is a really good mentor of mine, a guy named Brad Keith. 5 years ago, I was really into buying ground. That's all I cared about. It's in my bloodline. Just try to own as much ground as possible. And he told me, hey, the money is going to be made in services. But money isn't made in services if you can't run them right.
Correct.
And I think that you run a really top tier, but you have, I think you can talk about it. You have the office. You have, we invest in marketing, right? I mean, tell me how marketing's helped your guys' company.
Yeah, I think marketing's been tremendous, from what we do on social media, from, like I said, just wearing hats and vests to, being a part of the Ag Center and really having those extra 20 salesmen or so out kind of naming, putting our name out there. So the marketing's been tremendous. And it's actually, it's really been able to put us in a position to start picking and choosing, which I think as a service business, you always want to be in, right? Because I can get this pool of 20 jobs, but I don't necessarily, I can't fulfill all those 20 jobs. So now having the marketing, bringing in a lot of leads, having just the name and the performance to back up our name, we're able to kind of pick and choose where we want to be, what we want to do, where our best margins are, where's our best growth.
Because I've always asked you, because as you know, I believe in marketing, right?
Yeah.
With being an owner of the Ag Center, have a marketing company, partner in a marketing company. And I always ask you, and you've always said, hey, we've kind of ran the numbers. You've said 30-40% of our business is coming from marketing. So when you have, now we're down to way less sales guys, but before we're top heavy. It's like, whoa, if 30-40% of our business is coming from marketing, we're only spending $30,000 on that. Why? It's cost benefit,
100%.
right? Like,
we were running those numbers, a couple of days ago on a business of ours. And, and I think it was in 2020, we did X amount with overhead being, 6 people, and so far this year, we're on pace to do that and beat that with overhead being 2, so those are numbers that go straight to the bottom
example,
line.
your solar cleaning company, What's Up? That's built directly off marketing. Correct?
What's Up is directly off marketing and how many people, how many hands I can shake, I'm kind of the sole provider in that sales wise, I guess you'd say, for What's Up, and the connections I've made and whatnot. But marketing, I think, our Instagram has got us probably our 5 biggest customers now, whether they're actual sites or other companies that, are contracting us out to do work because they can't do it. The marketing's been able to just get our foot in the door and let us do what we do best, right? If you put me in front of somebody, we're going to close it. We're going to provide the quality service and we'll never lose it. So that's what marketing's done. Just opened up many doors and, all we got to do is basically close them. And luckily that's what we're good at.
Is your farm ready for the season ahead? Central Irrigation specializes in expert irrigation design and installation, creating efficient systems tailored to meet your needs. With top quality materials and service across the Central Valley, they're here to keep your fields thriving. The right irrigation system is just one call away. To get connected, contact the Ag Center today. Learn more at theagcenter.com. Central Irrigation for farmers by farmers.
or you've changed structure in the last couple months. You've seen astronomical growth because you can't. I mean, you just physically can't do everything.
And it hurt. It hurt. It took 9 years to give up a little bit of that, and
you're seeing your numbers rise, right? What does it take for what's your kind of plan for yourself in these businesses' growth? Is it finding new people? Is it growing within? What's the next? How, when do you make those calls for yourself in a business?
Yeah, I think, for me, like I said, most of my stuff, or not most of my stuff, but where I think the growth that I can provide for the companies at this point is fine tuning in the office and finding the right people, which we've made some changes to Caddyshack, and great, Brian Severa has been with us for 5 years, and, we kind of let him take the lead on a lot of things starting, the first of this year, and the numbers don't lie. The numbers have been amazing. Brian's, shout out to Brian. He's done an amazing job, and the pride that he has, hey, I'm not going to fuck this up. You give me an opportunity, I'm going to run with it. And that's kind of been huge. So, I think, like I said, each business is kind of to its own, and delegation looks a little bit different in all of them. But
I think another thing, which was a big thing for us this year, is like Sean, who runs pretty much helps me with all my companies, is what was a hard thing for me to look at the beginning of the year was what companies have the ability to grow and what don't, right? Correct. So I don't know if you want to talk on that, or just kind of where we've kind of landed on that. I mean, barrier to entry, capital, where we've taken a step back and said, we're fine where we're at here, and we're not fine where we're at in another company, right? Yeah.
Cost, two main factors, net profit, what company's pushing out money and what could push out more. And then 2 being cost of entry. When you look at, our rodent control business, and, I'll say this, and some people might get some crazy ideas to start competing with us, but good luck. The cost of entry isn't crazy. It's not going to take us that much of a capital investment to grow an extra 30-40% per year. Now, when it comes to Tree Barber, heavy equipment, it's a big, sexy company. I tell you what, man, it looks good.
Big equipment,
but man, it costs a lot too. To get a new topper, $600,000. To get a new set of harvest stuff. I mean, you want to do 30% growth, you're talking about dropping $4 million. And nowadays,
I'm good.
We don't got that. I don't know that a lot of people do got that. So, and what's up kind of goes back to Caddyshack. The opportunities are absolutely endless, and it doesn't take much financially. It takes a lot of time, connecting with a lot of, it's a totally different game. We're talking farmers to corporate, solar farmer guys. These guys are in New York, they're in, in the Midwest, and you don't just run into them at the irrigation pump and give them your card. You're doing a lot of back end stuff, LinkedIn. I mean, all this, stuff that you really wouldn't do, slinging rodent control. So, being able to find what's going to make these scale, and are they scalable? So Tree Barber, or back to Caddyshack, we're running. We expect the 30 to 40% growth this year compared to last year, and see no reason why we couldn't have that for the next 5 years. Bang, 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 30, 30, 30. Now, Tree Barber, we've kind of made a decision to refine our craft, get even better at what we do in the field and in the office, working, with Lexi, our amazing secretary, both Lexis, little Lexi and big Lexi, and, Sean Haynes, and just focusing on finding out what numbers we need to focus on. Let's fine tune this. Let's not necessarily grow our gross sales, but let's make sure we're growing our net sales at the end of the day.
Keeping customers.
And keeping customers, refining. So getting better at our customer satisfaction, getting better at the work we do in the field, how we carry ourselves. We're switching over to uniforms. We're getting all our guys uniforms and being more presentable in person to these growers, and just looking the part. The game's changed, from you used to just be able to show up with an employee and and whatever. It didn't matter. As long as the dude could work a shovel, he could work a shovel.
He had a heartbeat. He was good.
He was working. If he could put in a 12-hour day, then albeit he can have a job. Now it's different. You got to look the part to being able to get into a lot of these places. You need uniforms. You need certifications. You need licenses and certifications. That's a big word for me,
Yeah, trust me, I couldn't say it, so you go ahead and try it. But it is those little things, and I think what you got into 10 years ago to what you are now. It's a whole nother game.
Yeah,
right?
We never thought it. We I guess you always hoped it'd get to this point. We never really. We're not ignorant, we didn't take anything for granted. We all know we are extremely blessed at the end of the day,
for sure,
both personally and businessly or business wise. But
great customers,
we're blessed where we live. We live in the Central Valley. It's just the agricultural mecca, and that was most of the main decision when I was going to college. I was playing college baseball, and it's like, what am I doing? I have this opportunity of agriculture in front of me. And there's no better place in the world than the Central Valley to do that. And unfortunately, if you're going to succeed, coming out of Chowchilla, you're probably doing it in agriculture. If you're going to continue to live and grow and prosper in Chowchilla,
you understand it. You own an almond orchard. You got your ass kicked, so you're
Still
there with everybody.
Yeah. No, we see it in and out. And I think that goes back to a lot of our business strategy when it comes to growers. Hey. We have our own fields. We know a lot of these costs. But when it comes back to our employees, like we've all done the work that we're asking them to do too. So there's
never ask a man to do something that you haven't done yourself.
Full transparency and respect coming from the employees and coming from our customers. Like we're here. We know what you're going through. Let us, figure this out and go from there.
Well, guys, I would love to keep this going forever because I love Kyle and he is the baddest of the baddest there is in customer service. But I do got to go to a baseball game, and hopefully we actually win.
Let's go.
But, for those listening out there, there is success stories. There is people who have done it and who have made it with just true grit. And that, that saying does matter. Still, true grit is just like, fuck, I'm going to do it. I don't care what's in my way. I'm going to do it. And I just think some of that needs to come back into agriculture. Yep. Some of that does need to come back into saying, hey, I can make something. And, just don't compete against us because it'll be a tough battle. But other than that, Kyle Espinola is the picture, the poster boy model of what it takes to succeed in, customer service businesses. And being the service person, you have to have humility. You have to be able to, submit to getting your balls kicked in sometimes, right? Yeah. And so, kudos to you and cheers, man.
Appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.